Hi, everybody. Hey, it's Dr. Rob Martinez, the Superintendent of the Mount Diablo Unified School District. And I really just wanted to take a few minutes as we conclude the 2019-2020 school year to say hi and to let you know a few things that I've been reflecting about on this school year. I was able to start the school year with students on August 15th, 2019, and was able to get to so many of our schools and meet so many of you, our instructors who are out there working every day to support our students, to provide the education that they deserve, to connect with families, to really function as teams of individuals who are striving to meet so many of the needs of our students. And as we are concluding this year, just thought it'd be important to touch base on a few of the things that were part of our year and to lay out a few ideas that are being discussed for the future. Um, as with many of you, if you'd have told me as I was coming into the school district that we'd be having more smoke days, more PG&E public safety shutdowns, we'd have said, okay, well, we'll muster through it. And we did. When we got through those issues, obviously this year has been a very difficult one for our teams of negotiators and trying to work to settle previous concerns for the 18-19 school year, this 19-20 school year, and trying to look ahead for the 2021 school year. And quite frankly, in December, we thought we had reached a real positive moment for everyone involved when we were able to reach a tentative agreement with Medea. That was, again, a really good plan for what we believed we could do as a district for our employees. And that's why we did it. That's why we did it. One of the impending results that we found is that, again, the budget structure that we had and we were working with needed to be refined. Some of this had to do with the carry through from 2018, 2019. There was a lot of information shared about the budget, but what we worked to do was to strive to find some budget solutions where we would be able to live up to our agreements. In essence, we were cutting close to over $21 million through a process of redesigning our district budget, ensuring that we had dollars in the right places to provide services and supports to students. And yes, there were some planned for reductions to staff and services and programs. Very difficult to have these competing levels of interest to mitigate it all. And yet the district was on a plan to have a budget solution where we could implement the employee raises and support each of you in the important work that you're doing. And even more importantly, support each of our students. As many of you know, as we've continued this year, now in March, where we started getting information about COVID-19 and what the potential impacts were to schools, and then it quickly ramped up where, yes, I made the decision to close our schools to on-site instruction. Even then, there's no way we could have predicted that our students were not going to return for the entire school year. Couldn't have predicted that. As we've now went into distance learning, a full-scale assault on what that meant for our students, through your hands and your dedicated work, we were able to connect with so many of our students. Some of our schools were reaching numbers of 95% of our students engaged on the daily in some level of distance learning. Other schools struggled We know that issues of equity kept devices out of students' hands, kept internet from being turned on and readily available, kept families from having access to full devices that their students could use all the time. There are issues in the community with just simply going to distance learning and expecting everybody to connect. That's a struggle. We also had placed a significant responsibility on you, our educators, for maintaining that connection with our students. And that was a challenge as well. Many of you may not have had devices that were working at home, internet capabilities that you can consistently rely on. And so we know that it created a challenge and a hardship. And yet you persevered. You fought through it. You maintained the ability to connect, engage, support with students and their families. And we are also very grateful for the efforts that you continue to put in to do that for our families. As we start thinking about what's next, what's next for the future of education, I know that as instructional experts, your brains are all thinking about how can I do this better? How can I do more of what I think is making resonance with students and relevant work? And I think that's so very important. Some of the work that I've been doing on leadership targets leadership from the teaching ranks. Leadership from the teaching ranks. And I don't just mean leadership being in charge. I mean leadership that you show and you've shown every day with managing your classrooms, with working with students, academic leadership, service leadership, community leadership, team leadership, taking care of each other. Those are all leadership traits. And as, again, a district is going to improve and evolve, it's going to take leaders from across the district, not just administrative leadership, but leaders within grade level teams, across teams of schools, aligning and doing that work together. That's going to be very important for the continuing success of our students. I want you to think of yourself as, yes, a teacher. I understand. An important person in the lives of that small group, that larger group of students who you have that ability to interact with on the daily, and their families and their parents. And I also want you being part of the leadership of this organization by connecting, engaging, supporting your colleagues, connecting, engaging, and supporting with your administrators, connecting, engaging, supporting across schools, connecting, engaging, and supporting with families, with our students, with all of the populations that we're concerned about, because we need to make sure that every one of our students has those opportunities and access to really exceptional teaching daily. As you're watching this, again, we'll be finishing the school year. Today it is May 27th, about 1 in the afternoon right now. As you're seeing this, you'll be hearing of the task force teams that we're putting together to start working to reassess and to determine, can we have a re-entry plan for students that is safe and secure for students and our employees and their families, that provides the educational opportunities and access that they so richly deserve, while considering the issues of equity to devices, to technology, to instruction for every one of our students. That takes into consideration our most disenfranchised students, our foster youth, our homeless youth, and again, those that require specialized services. Our special education services have been very difficult to manage to truly meet students' needs in this time. But we have to be better at doing that. We'll be putting together task force teams that'll do some work through June and creating a comprehensive plan that is going to have a number of layers, thoughtful procedures, thoughtful processes that, again, will strive to keep people safe, that will strive to provide equitable access, that will strive to provide the best in educational programs that we can put forward, and will try to ensure that each one of our children is able to get to their next step. They're going in so many different places, but we have to focus on their needs and their needs into the future. Their needs into the future. So I'm asking you, as part of our contingency of employees, that primary person who's there with students every day, to consider how you will, yes, teach into the future, and how at the same time you will lead us into the future. What does this look like? And so there's some questions. One is, what does this look like? I just want you to think for a little bit and maybe get some journal paper and draw it out, think it out, because these are the kinds of conversations that we have to have. Another question, what do we really need to make this happen? Well, oftentimes in education, when we hear that there's being cuts of millions of dollars and now more cuts of millions of dollars, we tend to try and solve the problem with those few dollars that we have left over. This is not that kind of problem. This is one of those problems where if in fact we're going to provide the right devices, the right level of service, the right kind of equity, the right kind of instruction, it is going to be costly in that place where we need to have the right kind of sanitization, the right kind of cleaning, the right kind of process. This is going to cost dollars. So we're going to have to think through what this looks like going forward and really reach what do we need. Another question. What ideas must we have and must we build together? Nobody has done this before in any kind of modern or historic time, created a new education system in a short amount of time for the diverse population of students that we have. This is unique, and it will take unique ideas from each person and a working of conversation so that new ideas can rise from these conversations. What innovations do we desire for our students? What types of things might we need to create that we don't have right now? These are the challenges for us. What does the new future look like for the delivery of education? Some have talked about the stages of being able to get all of our students back on campus and go back to normal. I have to tell you, I don't see a normal in the next 18 months to 2 years, at least until some level of vaccine is clearly available for everyone. We're really creating a different normal, a future normal, but we can't just go back in the past. So thinking about what that looks like and the different layers that we'll have to move it forward is our challenge. Public education in and of itself is one of the common threads of socialization and building a knowledgeable citizenry. This is a huge task that we all are part of by being part of public education. We must not fail at being able to provide access, opportunities, information, knowledge, dialogue, connectedness to our populace. And we must do it so that we are succeeding in reaching the most disenfranchised of our students, those that could easily disappear. This is going to be a very difficult venture into the new world of education in the 2020-21 school year and beyond. And yet, educators, I believe, are the people who can do it. They can take up this challenge while at the same time taking care of you, yourself, your family, your own children, potentially your parents, relatives, community members. If we all continue to focus on turning to each other rather than on each other, we can create a new system that will continue to meet the needs of our students. I know that's a lot of information, and it's very difficult to give you this over Zoom without being able to come out and talk to you or to connect with you. And yet, challenges are ahead, and I so thank you for the work you've done this year. I appreciate your efforts for your students, for their parents, for your educational communities, and I know that Mount Diablo Unified School District has great things in its future. It surely does. So be safe, be steady, do what you can do, try and enjoy a little bit of time away from the summer if you're not participating in our extended school years, and we'll see each other again. Okay, bye-bye.